Well, earlier, I spoke to an eyewitness who was there at that Philadelphia polling station on Election Day and saw all of this go down. It happened to be a renowned civil rights attorney by the name of Bartle Bull. This is a man who worked as a civil rights lawyer in the South in the 1960s. He was campaign manager for Robert Kennedy. He was worked with Ted Kennedy as well. And he is now reacting to my interview with that former Justice Department attorney, J. Christian Adams, and to the Justice Department's statement essentially attacking Adams' claims, saying that he is distorting the facts. And I should also add that a source close to the case also attacked Mr. Adams, saying that he is a conservative and that he is making willful misstatements. Here is what Bartle Bull said when I asked him what he thinks about all that.
It's exactly the opposite. The fact is that Mr. Adams was trying to enforce the law, and for the first time in our lifetime, the power of the administration of the United States was working against the Voting Rights Act. They were protecting the people who were abusing the law. What I saw, for example, was this guy, King Shabir Shabazz, who was head of the Black Panther Party. He's the one with the baton, and he said to me and to a man I was with, he said, "Now you will see what it means to be ruled by the black man, cracker."
So when the Department of Justice comes out after winning this case and says, the facts and the law and the evidence just aren't there to pursue this prosecution any further.
They were absolutely there, and that's what they were afraid of. But for example, you're a lawyer, Megyn, you understand this. I've been a lawyer all my life, and the reality was that the law being enforced was Section 11 of the Civil Rights Act in 1965.
That's voter intimidation.
Voter intimidation. And the fundamental point to me is that Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy did not die to have uniformed thugs blocking the doors to polling places with weapons. And for the first time in our lifetime, the national administration is protecting the abusers instead of the voters.
Why?
Because they want to maximize the vote. The New York Times reported 1 week before the election, on October 27, 2008, the New York Times reported that Acorn had registered 1,300,000 voters, of which the Times said 35% were fraudulent. That's over 400,000 Acorn voters. And this was an effort to protect those illegal voters, and you do that by intimidating the poll watchers who were challenging them, and that's what happened.
Why would there be, Christian Adams says that there is now, in the wake of the Black Panther case being dropped, that there is a mandate at the DOJ, that the DOJ doesn't want the world to know about, that no voting rights case, no voter intimidation case is going to be prosecuted from this point forward if the defendant is black and the victim is white.
I have no way of knowing if that's the case, but I do know already that the President of the United States, Mr. Obama, has violated his oath of office to enforce the laws of the United States because he's not enforcing the Voting Rights Act, which he swore to do.
I mean, is that incredible to you as somebody who spent his life devoted to enforcing civil rights laws, to helping, push these laws?
It's a staggering outrage, and it's exactly not the cause that people like Martin Luther King died for. He died to help people to vote. I was in Mississippi working elections where people risked their lives to vote. And here the administration is challenging that system.
They seem to be trying to discredit Mr. Adams by saying he's a conservative and he doesn't like President Obama. That's what they seem to be suggesting. And he's been critical of the administration. Where does that leave us?
It leaves us in a terrible situation where the government is deciding what laws to enforce based on its political opportunities in the next election. I think this next election will be very dangerous because all those illegal Acorn voters are still on the rolls all over the country, and now we're going to be intimidated from challenging their false votes.
Do you have an agenda?
I have the same agenda I had in the 1960s in Mississippi, the same agenda I had in 1968 when I was Robert Kennedy's New York State campaign manager, the same agenda I had when I was Jimmy Carter's New York State campaign manager, and that is to have decent and intelligent government and fair voting all over the country.
What is the medal you have there? What are you brought with you?
This is a medal that in 2003 Senator Edward Kennedy gave to me and to other civil rights lawyers from the 1960 Mississippi days.
And what is it for?
For civil rights law, it says 40th anniversary, civil rights, 1963-2003, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under law.
And so, obviously you're a lifelong Democrat. You've worked to get Democrats elected.
Yes.
But you worked to elect John McCain in the last election.
Absolutely. I must say I didn't like Obama from the beginning. I thought he was a hustler. I think he still is.
I mean, is this for you now? Are you dismissing this because you don't like President Obama?
No, I think it's a matter of legal rights. I mean, I would support the right of any American to vote.
What do you make of the fact that, according to Christian Adams, we've had a Department of Justice attorney, this guy, Tom Perez, go before the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights and potentially give false testimony under oath?
Well, I wouldn't know the detail of that because I don't know the internal operations of the Department of Justice. I mean, that really comes from Christian Adams, who I think is a very honorable man. But I testified about 2 months ago in Washington before the Civil Rights Commission, and there, for example, 7 of these uniformed Black Panthers came and sat immediately behind me during my testimony. When I was called on to identify them, I had to stand up and point to King Shamir Shabazz, the guy with the billy club, and he took my photograph, trying to intimidate me, inside the hearing room, and that's an incredible outrage.
Can anything be done? I mean, if Christian Adams is telling us the truth about the new policy within the DOJ, what can be done?
Well, I think publicity is very important because the light of day does not encourage this kind of behavior. But the real problem is that we now have hundreds of thousands of illegal voters who are registered, and probably more being registered right now, and they're intimidating the challenges to those votes in the future.
Well, the Department of Justice maintains that this is not true, that they testified that they will enforce the laws equally, and they do not appear to think much of Mr. Adams, who has now resigned, although according to him, he did it at the highest pay grade and had never been demoted and was very well liked when he left. There's a difference of opinion on that. Bartle Bull, we appreciate you being here with your insights on it.
Thank you very much, Megyn.
All the best to you.